Hello, and welcome to today's OCRT e-learning series part 2, Investigating Approaches to Sourcing Organic and In-Conversation Cotton. Today's presentation will be recorded and sent out to all registered participants and also will be posted on the Hub. We will have a Q&A portion throughout the presentation. You can type your questions into the question box on the webinar doc. Any unanswered questions will be answered afterward via email. I now turn it over to Sarah with Textile Exchange. Sarah?
Hello, everyone, and a very warm welcome to today's webinar. It's great to see so many names popping up on the screen. So as Rose said, this is our second in our series of e-learning webinars. We're going to be looking at approaches to sourcing organic and in-conversion cotton. Next slide, please. So just a bit of housekeeping to kick us off. Please could you first of all update your Zoom name, including your full name and your organization in brackets. And feel free to introduce yourself in the chat box and tell us where you're calling in from today. It's always great to see such a spread of countries represented on these calls. So I'm also incredibly nosy, so I like to know where everyone's coming from. As Rose said, please type any questions you have at any point today into the Q&A box. So that's different from the chat box. The Q&A box helps us to filter out specific questions so that we can then make sure we ask them to our panelists and presenters. And as Rose also said, please note that this call is being recorded. Okay, next slide, please. So our antitrust statement. Textile Exchange convenes the textile community and values the diversity of views, expertise, opinions, backgrounds, and experiences. It's expected that members of this community will collaborate in sharing ideas, information, and resources of publicly available information only, and avoid discussions on price, strategic plans, or other private and sensitive information. Okay, and next slide, please. Okay, so our first Mentimeter today, as you, those of you who've joined other calls before, you will know that we like to have as much interaction as possible to make up for the sad fact that we're not all together in person. So the first question for you all, an easy one, in no more than 3 words, please can you tell us what you're hoping for from today's session? And just whilst you're typing that in, I would like to introduce Rui Fontoura onto the call. So Rui has recently joined Textile Exchange and is heading up our cotton strategy. Hi, Rui.
Hi, and hi, everyone. I'm happy to be part of this session today. So I think we're going to kick off with our first Mentimeter of the day, isn't it, Sarah?
Yes, that's right. And so you'll see that Alice has put in the chat the link to get through to this Mentimeter, or you can just go to menti.com and type in that code there. So it's 54518548. And then the words that you put in will magically appear on the screen. So some great initial words coming up there: understanding, knowledge, connect, and update. These are all things that we hope to be able to do in this session today. And yep, sourcing in conversion cotton, you're certainly in the right place. Learning is seeming, and understanding. Yep, great, excellent. Okay.
Understanding seems to be the word of today.
Yep.
Knowledge is coming up as well.
Share some knowledge today. We've got some brilliant panelists who I'm going to talk about a little in a moment. So hopefully we can certainly do something about sharing some knowledge, helping you learn, and improving understanding on the topic of today. So
I think
now,
we've got learning.
Now it's on to, speaking of learning, let's learn about you, Rui.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's session. I'm Rui Fontoura, and I recently joined Textile Exchange as a senior manager for cotton strategy. Previous to Textile Exchange, I worked for a luxury brand where I've been lucky enough to lead the transformation of the business from conventional to organic cotton. So it is possible. During that journey of taking a multi-category product from conventional to organic, a big part of the time we spent was looking at the opportunities within the supply chain and for each of the products. And I think that resonates a bit what we will be sharing with you today. Next slide, please. So I'm just going to spend a couple of minutes to share with you what Textile Exchange is, who we are, and what we do. We are a mission-based organization. Our mission is to inspire and equip people to accelerate the adoption of preferred materials in the textile value chain. We focus on carbon reduction, soil health, water, and biodiversity while enhancing lives. We envision a global textile industry that protects and restores the environment. Next slide, please. Climate Plus, Textile Exchange vision from now until 2030. We create a 45% goal of greenhouse reduction. It's imperative that we take proactive action to really protect and restore the environment, to protect and restore soil health, biodiversity, and water in a collaborative way. It's about amplifying the positive impacts that we can have on our planet. Next slide, please. And here it is, a direction of travel to go from conventional to organic cotton. I hope you're already on this path, or at least some of you are already on this path. If you're not, obviously we're here to support you, and that's what we're going to be talking about during this session. In conversion is part of the journey to source and produce a sustainable product. So we hope we'll be able to help you with some of the information we're going to share with you today, as well as our kind panelists. So Organic Cotton Roundtable, what we're doing here today is a key part of the Textile Exchange strategy to provide a platform for the organic cotton community to come together, to share ideas, and to learn more about what organic cotton is about. We host annual and regional summits. We have ambassadors in around 7 regions in the globe, and most of them are here today, and some of them will be talking to you. And we are proud of some of the leading initiatives in the industry actually came out of some of these meetings, such as OCA, which will be here today, as well as Shetland Coalition, as well as the latest Organic Producer Directive, which if you not heard about it, please get some information about it, because it's a great tool that we're putting together for you to use. Currently, the key focus of the Organic Cotton Roundtable is in conversion, which is a topic for today's webinar. This is my first roundtable as being part of the Textile Exchange team, which is it's quite exciting for me. Obviously, I attend a lot of organic roundtables in the past, and I have learned I always learn something at each one of those sessions. So I hope you do so today. This is not without saying that this is open space, so please do participate and ask questions. If we communicate and connect, we'll take a great deal of today's session. So participate and enjoy the session.
Great, thank you for that introduction, Rui. And I'm just going to give you a quick walk through what you can expect from today. So there's going to be a mixture of theory and practice in this webinar. We're going to start with Amish, who's going to give us an overview of some of the sourcing models that were identified in the joint Textile Exchange and Kering report called A World Beyond Certification, which is a best practice guide for organic cotton trading models. Then we'll move from theory into practice and hear about some great examples of different sourcing models and how they work in practice. So we've got on the call today representatives from Chetna, OCA, BioRay and Obipap, and Alice will introduce all of them to you a bit later. Then finally, it will be over to you, as we'll have a Q&A session to discuss any questions that have arisen during the course of the presentations. And just a reminder to use that Q&A box if you have any questions that come up. So please feel free to ask anything, and we will either answer them live directly via the Q&A box, or we will ask them to the panelists after the session. So before moving on to our first section, you may remember that we sent out a demand survey after our last webinar. And the results of this demand survey are still a work in progress, and we'll be sharing those findings in due course. But needless to say, the preliminary results show that there's clear demand for organic and it's increasing significantly. And a key reason for us coming together today is to explore the different sourcing options so that we can ensure a healthy and resilient sector that answers demand in a sustainable way that benefits all involved. So I'm going to hand over to Amish in a moment, but we have a couple of Mentimeters. So Matilda, if you could put the Mentimeters back up on the screen. Great. So the first, someone's already started answering it. So the first Mentimeter is, would you approach sourcing organic or in conversion cotton in a different way than you would approach sourcing other types of cotton? So this is really to try and understand a bit more about whether you treat organic or in conversion cotton differently to how you might treat other cottons. So we've got some results coming in here. So yes, that's interesting. That's quite a few of you, 10 at the moment. Oh no, I'm not even going to say the numbers because they keep changing. So you would take a different approach to organic and in conversion. That's super interesting. Just wait a couple of moments for any further results to come through. Yeah, that's a clear distinction there.
It is great to see that. Yeah, it's great to see that everyone is willing to take a different approach when it comes to sourcing of other types of cotton, hopefully in conversion and organic, isn't it?
Yeah, indeed. Excellent. Okay, so then on to the next one. Thank you. So how open would you be to trying a new approach if you could see a clear benefit to your business? So this is not so thinking about how you source now. If there was a new approach, would you be up for taking it? So I'm just going to have to go really close to my screen to be able to see what the, okay, so the pink is somewhat open, so would consider changing if there was a clear benefit, and the red is very open. And I think there is a third category, isn't there, that's not open at all, and no one has selected that, so that is good. But that is very interesting to see. Excellent. Yeah. Okay, brilliant. So Amish, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Sarah. And I can at least say we have seen the same practice, not only the participants who are participating and answering those questions, but as well as being based in India, I'm also getting a lot of call. Being a Textile Action ambassador, helping a lot of members of Textile Action is almost in a similar manner. People see it's a good opportunity. They have to think differently to source organic material as well as now also for in conversion. So, I will walk you through, the study that we have done and funded by the Caring in 2017. It's a report which talks about, how to source more sustainable material. It's only targeted organic, but we have seen the same model are used by the different industry player. Yeah. So can you go to the next one? So one of the key finding in this report are win-win situation for everyone. If that is the idea, then of course people are able to source more sustainable material in a positive manner. When I say positive manner, means is win for farmer, win for suppliers, and also win for brands and retailer. And at the end, consumers are getting more clear overview of what is achieved as of today. So these are some key findings that I have explained in a document. At the same time, if you see, we have a clear indication. If you choose permutation and combination, you will achieve X, Y, Z. So I'm going to walk you through the trading models. I'm going to walk you through the pricing models because both are linked to each other. And of course, there are two more activity which enables and stakeholders, which I'm not going to touch because if you choose the right trading model and pricing model, it will have a indirect impact and indirect relation with enablers and stakeholders. So you can see on your screen, if you're brands and retailer, you are the one who will choose a trading model, pricing model, and enable and the stakeholders. But at the same time, what is your scale? Are you a small volume brand? Are you a medium brand? Or are you a large brand? Or do you want to work in a collaboration with timeline? So you're looking for a short-term solution or for a long-term solution. Based on that permutation combination, you can choose a right tool to source the material. Yeah, next one. So here in the next, I'm going to give you more in detail information, but even, if you go and read the report, you can find the link in a chat. It is free for everyone. Everyone can download that report. There is no cost associated with it. But if you go in detail, you will see, what are the advantage, what are the disadvantage of each model. Also, what benefits or resources are required to implement each sourcing model. So the first one, that is a direct sourcing model that we call. Why we call it direct sourcing? Because at the end, brand needs to be involved directly on taking decisions on buying a material, whether they can buy directly or even they can buy indirectly. Means directly means they have to pay for it, and indirectly means they will work with a supply chain partner and they pay on behalf of a brand. So the first one in this direct sourcing model is a spinner-centric model. I mean, most of the brands, they will say, we only have a direct relation with the garment factory, but we don't have a relation with the fabric mill or even a spinning mill, and because of that, the visibility is not available. And over a period of time, every brand are looking for a visibility, which is a very first exercise for a traceability. A supplier mapping is very important. After having a supplier mapping, you can have a two option in a direct sourcing. Either you target a spinner or either you target a farm group producer. So let's just walk you through the spinner, why it is important. If you target a spinner, here you are able to secure your supply working with the spinner, the key spinner, instead of working with thousands of spinner, or let's say at least a couple of hundreds of spinner. You target n number of spinner towards, let's say 5 or 6, who can secure a supply on behalf of you. At the same time, there are other advantage of spinning models, such as aggregated price, quality are achieved. There is a proper chain of custody starting from spinner till the finished product, even though you have OCS or GOTS certified product, but you will have more indirect control over a spinner. So the objective of the spinner-centric model is more towards the brand having greater control on the business decisions or negotiation decisions and so on. At the same time, we have seen certain disadvantage also on this model, which is mentioned also, like human resource. Brand has to invest more on hiring a people who will work on these practices. Maybe if you are buying and keeping a stock, you might need a warehouse. So there is also, indirect, let's say, negative impact of sourcing spinner-centric model. But if we compare advantage versus disadvantage of spinner-centric model, spinner-centric model actually achieves if up to 70% of the score if I want to scale it up in a scale. So 70% I see is a big advantage, and that's what we have said in our report. The next one, what you see on your right hand side, is a producer-centric model. So producer is nothing but who has a direct control with the farm group. They are the one who is building a capacity on the ground. They are the one who is taking care of certification. They are the one who is providing a seed, controlling a training part, and so on. But at the same time, if you work with the spinning model, that means you need to, producer-centric model means you need to spend more resources, same as what you have for a spinner-centric model, but you will get a lot of advantage out of it. Secure supply for a long term, you have control on a supply till the fiber, not only the yarn, you have aggregated price till the fiber, you have more controls on the GMO reports, you have more open costing discussion you can do with the producer group, maybe you can invest more. And one of the biggest thing about this producer-centric model is a traceability till the farm, which is, of course, if you use the standard, there is a traceability, but it's on consent basis. But if you work on a producer-centric model, means from where your material is coming, right? And then you, of course, have a chain of custody. So those are the two part of, let's say, model, which is directly linked to the direct sourcing model. Yeah. So let's go to the next one. The next one is a spatial vehicle purpose. So spatial vehicle purpose is I can give a number of example, but the one of the easiest one that we have seen within India is there is an organization called the Cotton Sourcing Company Limited. So this is not only limited to organic cotton or in conversion, but this is also applied to the regular cotton supply chain, because there are certain cotton are very good in quality and the supply chain partners want to secure this supply. So here they will come, maybe they will create joint venture, or they will come and form some indirect or direct organization who can work on behalf of this business partner. So what you see on your right hand side, these business partners are nothing but spinning factories and then fabric units. They come together, they come on aggregate volume. what is there required in that region, and they will work with directly with the producer group, and they will secure this quantity for that need. And this is also a good way of working on securing a supply. You don't need to have one-on-one relation with the farm group or with the aggregator. Aggregator is nothing but a trader, but you will also have a secure supply for as a whole, as a cluster as a whole, and that will also have good benefit in terms of having a price negotiation with this farm groups, and also securing a supply for a longer run. But of course, it also has a disadvantage. One of the biggest one is a cost, which is associated to form this organization and run for it, because you need to hire people or organization who will work on this dedicated activity. But if you compare disadvantage versus advantage, it's a tremendous advantages that we have seen, and this particular organization are working perfectly fine in the India, and this same model can be replicated in the different geographical countries across the globe. Yeah. The next one is a model 3, which is a cluster partnership. So cluster partnership is almost similar as what we have seen previously, which is a special vehicle purpose, but it's slightly different in terms of how it is managed. So in a special vehicle purpose, it's mainly managed by your suppliers. But if it is we are talking about cluster partnerships here, the brands also can participate, and they can also have a good say what to do next and how to drive a market over a period of time. So here what you see on your right hand side is a graphical representation where whole supply chain starting from brand to the general factories are coming together to work on a volume, to work on a capacity, to work on a quality, and then price, and fix the same with the trader who has direct relation with the farm group. And this trader will make sure that whatever the requirement of this cluster can be fulfilled over a period of time, and also the right benefit will be passed on to the right organizations. So if we see the model 2 and model 3, special vehicle purpose as well as cluster partnerships are almost identical, but it has a big advantage and disadvantage in terms of if we compare with the model number 1, especially the investment part, which is higher in these two models. The next one is quite interesting model that we have learned and which evolved over a period of time, and one of the representative of this community development, or let's say collaborative community model, it's with us from Chetna Coalition. So this is community comes together, they form requirements, as well as they also work with a number of brands and retailers across the globe, and with that they will aggregate the requirement, and this aggregated requirement are passed on to the producer group and then also the farm group. So this community, not only the one farmer or let's say one farm group or handled by the one producer, but it has a multiple farm group coming together and fulfilling the demand of the industry. Of course, if we compare with the previously 3 model, of course, it has a lot of advantage. And this is my favorite model, which I always choose if I want to source, because it has a tremendous visibility or tremendous activity that XYZ brand can do it. It's not only about securing a supply, it's not only about pricing, quality, GMO, and so on. It's also about having a direct link with the farm group where you can have more approach towards collecting the impact data, let's call the KPI, or also work on different supporting activities such as pre-financing the raw material purchase, which will help the industry to build a capacity over a period of time. What you see on your right hand side is a graphical representation. You can see that we are not saying is only one brand. We have given at least 3 brand as example. It can grow up to 50 or 100 or more. We have seen the smallest cluster such like this, having almost 38 brands at the moment working together to come up with the aggregated quantity, pass on to same quantity till the ginning facility, and then that same quantity is translated to in the building a capacity at a farm level. So starting buying what is available as of today and then translate for the future capacities. So these are the 4 model that we have identified, which is not only working on a paper, but it's also actual on ground practice, which will result in a positive manner. Of course, that's the first part. The second part is most important, which is the pricing. What we have seen, we have identified 4 different pricing models that is working across the globe, but out of 4, 2 are very much important. One is a flexible model, and second is a split premium model. Now, flexible price is quite important for the industry because most of big traders are working on this model. I'm not saying the regular supply chain, but if we talk about regular cotton trader or polyester trader or any commodity trader, when they want to secure a supply and control the price, this is the formula they always go with for the industry, a flexible price mechanism. It is nothing but, what you do is you have a price that you fix for, let's say, for 1 month, 2 months, or 6 months, whichever model that you want to do it. Let's target for a 6 months. So if you want to do this pricing, I will fix the price with my supply chain partners or even with the farm group producer, that, okay, this is a price that I want to use it for a 6 months. And then you also refer a referential price, which is nothing but the differential based on market up and down. So if price of regular conventional, let's say regular cotton is $3 for a yarn, that means till $3 plus minus 10%, we are not going to renegotiate the prices. But once we move towards this referential price 10% to 11% or 50% or 20%, then of course we will come on negotiating the prices. So what is providing, what is a big advantage of this model is at least you have secure price for a 6 months, or even you can work for 1 year. And once the prices are going up and down, then only you have to come on a negotiation activity. And this will also have a direct impact on your costing, as well it has a direct impact on how well you are translating your premium to the farm group or farm group producer across the supply chain. The another one is a very interesting model, which we have learned from the industry on a ground, which is a split premium model. So supply chain will run exactly as a conventional. There is no difference at all. What we have seen is the price for organic differential has to be paid separately. Either you pay directly through the brand to the producer, or you pay through your supply chain, but not involving all supply chain actors such as garment factory, knitting factory, spinning factory, or ginning. You just fix the price. Let's say we have fixed the price at 1.7 dollar per lin kg of cotton, what you see in your example on your screen. But the premium which you want to pass on to the farm group, let's say is $0.50 per kg of seed cotton, which will directly go to this producer. So producer, when sell this material to ginner or spinner or knitting mill or garment factory, it will go as regular as a conventional price. So there is no price upcharge within a supply chain. It will run as a regular conventional cotton price. But the price premium differential, it will be directly passed on to the right organization, which are the farm groups or the farmers. Now, one of the additional advantage of this, if ginner is going to receive a premium, that means, or he has to invest more material price on a raw material, what will happen again and again, same price will add on spinning mill, the same price will add on knitting mill, same price will add on CMT and brand, and that has a negative impact. So let's say, if we take unrealistic example, even if we take a realistic example, let's say $0.50 a premium per kg of seed cotton, this will go on, will increase $0.50 to, it will go up to $2, it will go up to $3, because everyone will increase the price because of their investment. But if we decouple the price with the regular price, then there are chances that price will drop significantly in a supply chain, and the right person will get the benefit of the differential of the organic. So these are the two models which can work in a combination of the 4 sourcing model that we have discussed. And this 4 sourcing model and these 2 pricing mechanism will help you to take a right decision on which works best for you guys. So it's not only applicable for let's say for a brand or retailer. Even if you're a supplier, you can use this model and get benefit out of it. And we have seen certain suppliers, not only in India, even in China, as well as in Turkey and Latin America, they're taking advantage of these models. The next one is, it's about in-depth information about India trading model in a combination of what we have seen trading model as well as pricing mechanism. In a report, we also have a similar graphical representation of Africa, Turkey, Latin America, as well as US. So, it will help you to understand every countries are operating in a different way because of different culture and different sourcing practices and so on. So here what you see, if you choose the right combinations, you can achieve n number of things compared to the conventional or sourcing models. Because what you see in this table, in a third column, which is a conventional sourcing model where everything is linked to the regular supply chain. So price a fiber payment and a fiber movement are actually moving from one end to another end. So everyone is involved, and that is going to increase the cost. Everyone is going to say, okay, I do have quantity, but whomsoever pays higher prices, I will sell to them. And that's how the prices are increasing in a supply chain. But if you work with the trading model, nominated sourcing model, which is a direct and indirect, and then you can definitely have a direct control on a price because you are decoupling the price with the regular flow of the material. And once you do so, it will have a direct impact on your price, so availability of the raw material, and as well as a long-term relation with the farm group producers. The next one is end of my slide, but next one is really interesting that we have to see. Is the costing. There is a question in a question answer, as well as at the beginning we said we don't want to touch prices discussion because of antitrust rule, but we are going to use this information to give you more idea that model that we have discussed, the pricing issues, or let's say pricing mechanisms that we have discussed, it actually has a good advantage. What you see here, let's if just compare the any 30 yarn counts, which is organic, which was sold just last week. Conventional cotton price was $3.6 per kg X mill. Brand A is buying at 4.5, whereas brand B is buying 6.2. Why there is a two different prices for brand A and brand B? It's just simple. One reason is both has a different sourcing model. Brand A is working on advanced commitment, whereas brand B is working just open market. Whenever the volume is available, they will buy it. Whenever the low price is available, they will buy. They don't work on advanced commitment. They don't choose the right sourcing model. And because of that, the price difference between brand A and brand B is almost 37% that we have seen. And this is just last week price that we are just comparing. And this is not just price on a paper, is actually shipment happened last week on the same model. So why and how the brand or suppliers can take a right decision on the same activity, which is the next answer. So can I just click one? Yeah. So what you see on a heading is it's all about your sourcing strategy. So right sourcing strategy and right engagement strategy will give you this benefit in the system. And if you choose to do so, you will definitely get a fruitful let's say answer, or let's say fruitful business discussion with the supply chain actors for a longer period of time. And one of the things that I'm more interested is if you do this activity, you will have a long-term supply chain in the market. So most of the brand this year, they have faced a lot of issue on securing organic or even securing in conversion at lower price or at a high, let's say reliable prices, just because they did not have a right sourcing strategy or right engagement plan with the industry. So that's all from my end, and I'm happy to answer. And Sarah, back to you.
Great, thank you very much, Arish. That's brilliant run through of the various sourcing models, and quite a few questions have come up in the Q&A box. So thank you for those who've been asking. Some of them have been answered live, but we will pick up some of them after our next session, which is a tea talk with some organic cotton sourcing trailblazers. Now, I'm very happy it's a tea talk because as a British person, wherever you are in the world, it's always time for tea. So I will hand over to my French counterpart, Alice, to introduce this section. Alice, over to you.
Thank you, Sarah. So continuing with today's focus on sourcing models, we will now dive into a selection of sourcing models examples across different scales and contexts. And we're pleased and honored to welcome on our virtual stage these 4 trailblazers of the organic cotton sector. Personally, I met many of you back in 2013 when I was a bachelor student discovering the fascinating world of organic cotton farming. And I'm sure your faces are also familiar to many people of the audience, especially those that attended some of the OCRT summits. Each of you has been invaluable making your initiatives and organic cotton success stories. So without further ado, let me introduce today's 4 speakers. Red Godfrey, you are here today as the co-founder of the Chetna Coalition, a collaborative value chain and network of nearly 30 SME brands and facilities sourcing organic cotton from the Chetna Organic Cooperative in India. Jaskaran Varik, you are the South Asia Director of the Organic Cotton Accelerator, a multi-stakeholder organization running among many other activities, a farm program in India dedicated to improving the business case of organic cotton farming. Marco Paul, You are co-CEO of BioRed Tanzania, working with organic producers through contract farming and part of a fully transparent value chain with the vertically integrated manufacturer Remai. Professor Simplicita Vudue, you are coordinator of OBEPAB, an NGO in Benin supporting organic cotton producers and part of the West Africa Organic and Fair Trade Cotton Coalition. A warm welcome to all of you. So I will ask you a series of quick fire questions in turn, and at the end there will be an opportunity to wrap up together by sharing your key takeaways from the discussion. Afterwards, we'll have a Q&A session with a selection of questions from the Q&A box. So I'd like to start this time today with Red Godfrey. Red, you are a social entrepreneur, published authors, and partner at the impact investment firm Boma Investments, leading sustainable business collaborations in ethical fashion, blockchain technology, agriculture, youth volunteerism, and innovative finance. You're also a serial founder of several leading collaborations for impact. And as mentioned previously, you're here today to represent the Chetna Coalition, also known as CHETCO, that you co-founded in 2013. So to start with, could you outline for us in a few words the concept behind CHETCO and how it relates to the sourcing models that Amish introduced?
Yeah, sure. Well, first of all, hello, everybody. I was looking through the participants list and I recognize a whole bunch of names. So a quick shout out to Narana Swami from Armstrong Spinning Mills. And I also saw a couple other names in there, but I just want to say hello, Narana Swami ji. Also, hello, Sandra. So yeah, I'll tell you about the Chetna Coalition. So the Chetna Coalition is a pretty simple idea, but what it does is it addresses I think one of the most critical challenges and really addresses organic cotton at the sort of the root of its reality, which is that organic cotton is a community produced good. It is a good that is produced by smallholder organic farmers that are organized into a community. So if you're talking about positively impacting organic cotton with your sourcing method, you have to positively impact the community that grows it. So what we did with the Chetna Coalition is we firstly, we scoured the world. We worked with TE to do this, to find some of the world's best practice organic cotton farming groups. One of the ones that were absolutely at the top of the pile was Chetna Organic, with about 10,000 organic cotton farmers in central India. And then we joined together a coalition of brands in what we call a collaborative value chain community. So it's brands, manufacturers, and spinners. And together we decided to create a sourcing community, a collaborative sourcing community that focuses on the long-term sustainability and the growth of our shared farmer group, which in this case is Chetna Organic.
Thanks a lot. So I'm sorry to cut you off.
Oh, please, no worries. Yeah.
Let's move to the next question, and it's directly linked with just what you said. So what would you say has made this model successful?
What's made this model successful is that we've been able to address a whole bunch of challenges. So the first one, we've basically been ticking them off one after another. So the very first one we addressed was financing. So the issue is that our brands brands that are purchasing from any organic group are usually sending POs down the supply chain. They're sending POs down the supply chain based upon their own needs, seasonal needs. But an organic cotton farm, again, because it's a community produced good, it's not a commodity. They don't have the same sort of middlemen purchasing and brokerage scenarios that large commodity cotton has. So therefore, when cotton is ready to pop, you got to buy it. So there's a few months that you can actually buy organic cotton from the farm group. If you don't buy that from the farm group, the farmers themselves, who are at this point have made large investments in the cotton itself and growing it for 4 months, they have to sell it. So that means that you need to align the purchasing seasonal purchasing scenarios from the brands down to the actual cotton growing season from the farmers. So by aligning those two purchasing scenarios, particularly with an MOU that we sign a year and a half ahead of when our cotton's coming out of the ground, it gives the farm group a piece of paper that they can bring to the brand, that they bring to a bank, that they have a purchasing guarantee from a whole cooperative value chain community. And because of that purchasing guarantee, they can get loans, which that means they can buy cotton from the farmers at the right time and send it to the brands. It's simple, but honestly transformatively innovative. And that's just one thing we've done. We've done a whole bunch of other things. And why? Because we work with the community. So we know what's going on, what's needed, and we can address it as a group together.
Super. And can you tell us about the challenges you found and how you have overcome them?
Sure. Yeah. Our model is not. It is not. Oops. Hello. Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Our model is not finished. I think we certainly have some room for improvement. We've been facing some challenges, primarily around ensuring that we have enough finance. So this comes down to like a bankability issue. So even though we bring MOUs, memorandums of understanding, to our financial institutions, I'm saying our, I'm meaning Chetna's financial institutions in India, it's not enough. It's not enough because they don't give us one-to-one finance. So finance has always been a challenge in our growth. But it's something that I believe that once we get to scale, will begin to solve itself. The other primary challenge we have, other than I think having a good source of finance, is a problem with pricing. So we do a lot of work with our brands to make them understand that community sourced cotton that from best practice farming communities is not normal cotton. This is not cotton from the normal marketplace. I'm sorry. Sorry, I'm just getting a call many times. I think there's a delivery man at my door, but I'll ignore him.
Just a few minutes more.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I'll see if I can give him a thumbs up. Anyway, the issue here is that this cotton is more expensive. It's more expensive. Why? Because it's not trying to just meet the minimum criteria of certifications. It's going well beyond that. It's providing livelihood, holistic.
Should we move on to the next question, maybe?
No, it's okay. No worries. I'm done. I just took the delivery man. Anyway, the point is this cotton is more expensive. What do you do when the cotton's more expensive? Well, there's no choice other than to have to buy it. If you don't buy it, then you leave these best practice cotton farmers high and dry. So any brand who's interested in sourcing from a best practice farming community has to realize that they have to be willing to pay a price differential. For us, it's around 15 to 20% more. So far, that hasn't been very big of a deal for us, but it is still a challenge that we're looking to overcome through economies of scale.
Great, and you also answered my question I had for you after. So thank you very much, Fred. And let's move on now to Jaskiran Raurik. Jaskiran, you work as the South Asia Director for the Organic Cotton Accelerator and leads OCA's operation in India, working closely with your partners on OCA's farm program. You have over a decade experience in sustainability and have witnessed firsthand how business can have a positive impact for people and planet. Can you briefly introduce to us OCA's work and how your farm program supports brands in sourcing organic cotton?
So thank you, Alice. Thank you for also introducing me with those lovely words. It's always a pleasure to hear, all of those things coming together. OCRT model is actually very much built on things that Rhett has already been talking about, So we've been talking about how organic cotton is built by communities or created by communities, how you need to work with the communities. The difference with what we do at OCA is that we work with the sector as a whole. So since the publication of the study that Amish just took us over in 2017, what we've sort of learned is that it's a mixture of different things that has to come together. You can't always fit it into a neat pigeonhole. And that's what we've been doing at OCA. So every year our model becomes more flexible, it changes, and it changes to adapt to the requirements of what's going on. In our experience, I think a pre-competitive, multi-stakeholder approach that's looking to leverage sourcing relationships while measuring and communicating the impact, all the while addressing systemic issues for the sector, that's what works. So you can see that the mandate is enormous. And I think OCA is one of the only organizations that's actually looking at it from a sector perspective. So we're taking the community global in that sense. And I think the approach is all about.
Great, and you've already answered part of it, but given what Amish shared with us earlier, what would you say makes this model successful?
I think the realization that it's not just the leveraging of the sourcing relationships that exist in the market. So of course you have to bring it together. You have to have a closed loop system, buyback guarantees, premiums, all of that. But at the same time, you also have to really focus on systemic solutions. So in OCA's team, for example, we make seed and innovation in different areas, whether it's research, whether it's looking into laboratories, all of it. We make it our business. So we're doing a lot of these things to make sure that the system is strengthened and the infrastructure supports long-lasting and meaningful sourcing relationships. That's what makes it successful.
Thanks a lot. And now I'd like to hear more about the challenges you've come across and how you've overcome them. Could you tell us more about that?
Oh, Alice, it's been such a learning experience, and you've given me only 2 minutes. So I'm going to try and condense this really quickly. But I think for us, some of the learnings, I won't even call them challenges, because the community that we work with, the OCA community, is so geared to look at the long term, play the long game, that we've stopped really looking at anything as a challenge, only as what can we do to make this better? What can we improve it? And something that we've seen is that the general lack of planning and availability in the sector, whether it's cotton, whether it's seed, whether it's finance. These are sort of the issues that we face year on year, and we have to find some solutions for them in the long run. Years like this one with the COVID impact and the shortage and God knows what. So when Amish says his phone's been ringing, our phones have been off the hook for the last couple of months, right? And the reason that this is happening is because in the past, it was our mandate to convince the brands that they need to sign long-term agreements, long-term arrangements. The tables have turned. Now we are talking constantly to our implementing partners and suppliers saying, hey, you need long-term relationships. You need long-term sort of, ways of looking at it, because this is up and down in the market. It's going to sort of stabilize eventually. So that's been something that we've been also focusing on. Standardization and flexibility. Walking that tightrope is, I can't even begin to tell you, but we have to find a way to make it work for multiple actors, because we are a multi-stakeholder platform, right? So This year, it's, you can stop me here, go ahead.
Yeah, just from the brand perspective, what would you say is the most important things that a brand should consider when looking for a sourcing model to suit them?
Investment in your partners, investment in your supply chain, investment in your, in the vision and the commitments that you have to make sure that, in conversion is happening so you can get to your organic targets. You're investing with your suppliers so they can give you, the long-term commitments for your cotton. All of that, it just boils down to investment and commitment in my head.
Great, thank you so much, Jaskiran. So
You're
now
welcome,
let's move on to Marco Paul. Marco, you are the co-CEO of Biorate Tanzania Limited, and besides overseeing administration matters of the company, you work closely on the ground with farmers, and conduct farmer visits, monitoring, training, and assessment of crop production in general. Can you explain to us in a few words what the approach of your company is with organic cotton farmers and how the rest of the supply chain is organized upstream?
Okay, thank you so much. I'm working with Biore Tanzania. Now, Biore Tanzania has several approaches to work with the organic farmers in the field or in the production. Now, these approaches includes we have the secured purchase guarantee. This means now farmers are ensured to purchase their cotton once harvested and on time. We also work with them in premium. That means we have an additional price on the local market. Once the calculation is made, then we have to top up on the basic price announced by the government so that farmers can benefit and always find the price from Biore Tanzania is much, much higher as compared to others. But also other approaches, we have training and a close follow-up with the farmers. Several trainings have been conducted to farmers and the regular visit. Now this helps the farmers to increase the knowledge and feel that they are well cared. Not only that, but also trust and long-term of relationship with the community. Now this trust now makes the farmers to feel happy, and so that we work like together as like one company, in one community. But also we have the approach of farmers' involvement of producer representative body. That means we formed the board of the farmers who now speaks like the parliament to represent the farmers' ideas to the company. And once they are listened, and then we can decide whatever they want, so that this is one of our approach to make sure that we listen to farmers what they want and what they suggest. And
Well,
lastly,
nice.
also,
Let's move on to the next question.
okay.
What makes your farmer focus model an interesting model for brands to source from?
Yeah, Biore Tanzania Limited has a model which has made successful to the farmers. First of all, we have this, we provide market access to farmers and good relationship, as I said, and the building a trust with the community. But also Biore Tanzania believes that organic farming is the starting point of holistic strategies of Biore, and the LEMI AG which is fair, organic, ecological, transparency, and the carbon dioxide neutral production of ready-made garments.
Great. So what are some of the challenges you've found, and how have you overcome them?
Yeah, actually one of the main challenge is how to support farmers during the in-conventional period. That I mean, the first and second years of production after registration. So far, there are not enough buyers of in-conventional cotton, which stands like now a limitation of the organization to increase the number of farmers accordingly. This case it causes most of the farmers sometimes not to adhere to some of the organic rules, and then they comes to the result of termination.
Yeah, so in conversion period is quite critical, and it's interesting to know that more and more brands are looking into incorporating in conversion cotton in their sourcing strategy. So talking about brands, what would be your advice for brands interested in sourcing in Tanzania and looking for a sourcing model that suits them?
Thank you. I would like that the brand now should consider the support of this in-conventional farmers, so that to have a long-term commitment of these farmers. So this would ensure a good market for them, and increase the motivation to produce more cotton, hence increase the production. As I said, at the moment, the problem of there are not many buyers of this in convention. So this branch should focus on how to support these farmers.
Great. And this would help also increase the percentage of organic cotton grown, right, in the longer term. If you increase the in conversion cotton, then there will be more organic cotton available.
Yes.
Great. Okay, thanks a lot, Marco. And now, to finish this round of questions, we'll cross the African continent and move on to Professor Simplice Davo-Vodoué in Benin. Davo, you're a pioneer of organic agriculture in your country and in the continent, and a long-time friend of textile exchange. You are the coordinator of the OBEPAB. So for the French speakers, l'Organisation Béninoise pour la promotion de l'agriculture biologique, the Beninese Organization for the Promotion of Organic Farming. And you've successfully made the case for organic farming in your country. You're also a professor at the University of Abomey-Calavi and a coordinator of over a network of organic agriculture across the continent. You work closely with smallholder farmers groups on the ground and have been collaborating for many years with the Pesticide Action Network UK. You're also one of the members of the West Africa Organic and Fair Trade Cotton Coalition, also known as CCBE. Could you explain us in a few words how the organic cotton supply chain is organized in Benin and what the role of OBEPAB is?
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody.
We cannot hear you anymore.
For dating in West Africa, and in Benin we produce organic cotton and conventional cotton. And for the organization of organic cotton sector, it is mainly NGOs who are promoting the organic cotton in Benin, and they train farmers to get to know the principles of producing organic cotton. And this is done in a rotation crop. So it is not only
Davo, you're cutting a bit.
cotton.
So maybe can you turn off your camera? Maybe it would.
No, I turn it on. Can you see me? Not.
Yeah, but your connection is a bit cutting off, so maybe you want to turn it off.
Okay.
Great.
So it is turned off.
Now it's still on, but we can hear you, so please.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying that we train, we have a field agent working closely with farmers, and we establish what we call internal control system in which farmers are involved to control themselves. We have also the cooperative to help to understand what the certification is about, and women are also involved in all those activities. We put some emphasis on women because they suffer a lot in the conversion sector. That's why we think that it is important to value women. And the cotton, when it is harvested, it is bought at the village level and brought to the ginning mill. And after ginning, the fiber is given to an organization which is called Sodeco. And Sodeco pay farmers with a premium of 20%. And one of the solution we have is that we are happy that we have a guarantee that the cotton is bought from the farmers with the premium every year. And this is the way we organize ourselves in Benin.
Thank you. And what would you say are the benefits of such a model? And why is it important for farmers to have long-term support from organizations such as yours?
The benefit of this program is that farmers have their voice to be heard every time, and they participate in the advisory services, and they can intervene anytime and convince other farmers to join it. And another aspect is the involvement of women in the system. This helps to convince other women to join the program. And these are the area we value a lot. And another aspect which is quite important for us is the diversification of crop and revenue. And farmers, especially women, are involved in the processing of some basic crops such as shea nut into shea nut butter, and this is quite a source of revenue which women can get above what they got from the cotton. And another aspect we found very useful in the program is that progressively women are getting land, a fertile land, compared to what we experienced at the beginning. And this is due to the fact that the women are getting more power in their community. And that is very successful in the sociological point of view. And we think that our program has some impact, not only economical impact, but sociological impact in the community. And this will put us in the good side of sustainability. And that's what I would like to say.
Thanks so much. It's really, really interesting. Now, I'd like to talk a bit about the challenges you've come across. Could you tell us a bit about recent challenges and how you have overcome them? And also, I'd like to hear from you why you think that alliances across producer groups, such as the West Africa Organic and Fair Trade Cotton Coalition, are so important.
Starting from the last question, the coalition is very important for information sharing, information on technology, information sharing, the marketing, and all other things. This is very, very important because we experienced for some time a challenge in selling the cotton, while in other parts of West Africa, there are some some people who would like to buy it, but they could not have the cotton. And with respect to the challenges, I think that nowadays, people are really interested in the promotion of organic cotton. But the challenge is that are very committed for a long term and for a certain quantity, so that farmers will not be short of market when we produce more. This is quite important. And another aspect is about how to value the transition cotton, because when people convert to, as my Tanzanian colleague said, when people get to a transition, they do not get any premium, and they are looking for that. How to deal with those things, and how to deal with the rotation crop. And one solution for the rotation crop and other crop is that farmers are transforming some of the crops, such as shea nut butter, but and soja. Soja, they can sell it now, and we are happy with that. And this is why we introduce the soja in the system. And we are a challenge we have also is that most of the cotton we produce as organic is exported. It is only a small quantity which is transformed locally. And we are happy, we are planning, and we hope that this will be successful, that part of organic cotton we produce be really transformed in Benin to add value to what farmers are doing. And a last aspect is, as I said, the government now decided to have a strategic plan for organic production, organic cotton included. And we
Thanks so much. I'm sorry I have to get you now because I'd
Okay.
like to have a few seconds more so every one of you can share your takeaway. So thank you very much, Davo.
Okay, thank you.
So yeah, as we're now nearing the end of the discussion, I'd like to give you each 30 seconds, one sentence, to share your takeaways from today's discussion. What are you taking home? What should we take home? Is there anything we're leaving out here that needs to be addressed? Who wants to start? Rhett?
Yeah, sure. One key takeaway. Yeah, I would say that you can't do it alone. Community sourcing with groups of brands is the only way that you can actually provide long-term economic security to a farm group. Without that, then all other efforts, all other sustainability efforts will always remain in quotes.
Thank you very much. Marco, do you want to be next?
Yeah, thank you so much. I would like to say a word that I welcome you all and other members who are listening us, that we welcome those who want to buy in conventional cotton in Tanzania. So you're warmly welcome. Thank you.
Great. Davo?
Thank you very much. And I think that I will invite people who buy cotton to think of long-term commitment with farmers. This will help to keep good revenue for long-term and for the development of a community. Therefore, it will bring for food security, and also it will protect our environment. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Jaskiran?
Thanks, Alice. I just see so many similarities in what everybody's been talking about, and I know that we're in this together on a whole different scale. But I think my one takeaway is that there is no turnkey solution for the challenges facing the organic cotton sector, and I think we should stop looking for them. So I really do think we need to swallow that pill really, really quickly and start looking at long-term commitments and long-term solutions.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing with us your time on Insight. Today was an opportunity to dive into a snapshot of organic cotton sourcing models across different scales and contexts, and we hope to have the chance in the near future to explore more of the great initiatives spread across continents. Over to you, Sarah.
Great, thank you, Alice, and thank you to our excellent panelists. It's brilliant to hear all your different perspectives, and we're so honoured to have such a wealth of experience, and also to hear from how things are working in different corners of the world. So thank you for that. I am going to ask you some of the questions that have been coming in, and actually, Jaskiran, I'm going to start with you because I could see that you were answering a question that I think it would be quite good to discuss live. So this question about whether advanced commitment is applicable for long-term business, would you like to speak to that a bit?
Sure, and I think it also says Amish wants to answer it, so I will let him also pick that up. But what I can say is, who doesn't like advanced commitment? Whether it's long-term business, short-term business, I mean, an advanced commitment is great to help you plan your business, and that's what we've been talking about is missing, and what we need to sort of build in. Long-term planning will help us make sure that we're getting the kind of impact that we want to see, that we want to achieve. So yes, please, advanced commitments, long-term business.
Great, thank you. Amish, would you like to add anything to that?
Yeah, no, I mean, just echoing what Justin is saying, and even a few point I mentioned in my session also, advance commitment is important because, the supply of the material. I mean, just take it out of the cotton as an example. Let's say, tomorrow you want to source very specific material, which has very, limited quantity. How you will source it? How you will provide this material to your supply chain partners as well as to your consumer? It's only one way to do it. Secure your supply. How you do secure your supply? Advance commitment. That's only one way to go. And at the moment, what we have seen, whether it is organic cotton or even in conversion cotton, the strategy is the only key thing which can make a table change for everyone in the industry. What we have seen, everyone is looking only for India for a sourcing, but there is organic cotton or there is in conversion cotton in Tanzania. We have just heard people need to start exploring us, material from different region, as well as changing the source strategy is only the one option that industry has.
Yes, Sarah, if I can put in one point here.
Sure.
It's, I think, also important to understand what we mean by advanced commitments. There's different, I guess, styles or ratings of advanced commitment. You can do full pre-financing, which some of our brands do in Chetna Coalition. That's obviously the best. That's cash in hand. They can use that to leverage. But there's other forms as well. So for the past 2 years in the Chetna Coalition, our brands have given seed pre-finance just for the seed, which is about 2 or 3% of the total purchase price. That is another form of advanced commitment, but it's incredibly valuable because obviously without securing high quality seed, you don't get the outputs. And another form of advanced commitment is actually not any monetary commitment at all, but just a promise that can be contractually leveraged. And that's the MOU process, which we developed. So there's many ways to give advanced commitments. They're all market signals. And sometimes, depending on the farm group, they might need a very strong market signal, or they could possibly have weaker market signals. But with creative sourcing and with aggregating different types of signals, you can really benefit a farm group.
Great, thank you very much. Would any of the other panelists like to speak to that question a little more? Otherwise, we'll go on to another question. Okay, in which case, let's touch upon the question of yield. So there's been a couple of questions that have come up asking about the comparison between the yields of conventional cotton and organic cotton. And there was actually a specific question for Marco about yields in Tanzania. Sorry to put you on the spot, Marco, but do you know what the average yield of organic cotton is in Tanzania? And could you speak a little bit to the question of how organic yields compare with conventional yields?
Okay, thank you, Sarah. The comparison between organic and the conventional production per acre in Tanzania is more or less the same. Because in organic, we do harvest around 250 to 300 kilos per acre, which also in conventional is almost the same because of the climatic condition. Unless for the areas where there is too much rain, it can go up to 400, 500 per acre, but in very rare cases, especially here in my area where I'm living and where the places we are operating with the farmers, the harvest per acre in both is almost the same. Yeah.
Great, thank you. Would anyone else like to speak to the question of yields?
I will just add a few things on the yield issues. Can I go?
Yep, fire away.
Okay, thank you. I think that the yield is almost the same, but it depends on the area and the year the farmer is in the organic cotton. But when they start, the cotton, the yield of in organic cotton can be lower than really lower compared to the conventional sector. And I think that at the end, if the farmer follow correctly the technical itinerary, where they get yield close to the yield of the conventional producers. That's what I would like to add.
Great. Thank you very much, Davo. Would any of our other panelists, or indeed Amish, like to add anything to the question of yields?
Yeah, yields are very important. I mean, that's always, people are having misunderstanding. I'm not saying everyone will get a same yield as a conventional, but as Dao said, right practice and right tool, and using right geographical location to cultivate organic cotton can have a positive results. Most of the places what we have seen, rainfall conditions are almost same for both cotton, and no difference. We haven't seen big difference at all. But if it is irrigated land, then of course you will see a huge gap because of irrigation, fertilizer, and also the climatic conditions. Yeah, so it is not good way to compare, let's say, country yield versus average country organic yield, or let's say conventional Tanzania versus organic Tanzania. It's not a right tool for comparison. You need to compare the very geographical area on that activity.
Great, thank you very much, Amish. Okay, we will go on to another question now. Back to you, Davo. You mentioned about the role of rotation crops during the conversion period and beyond. I'd be interested to know from you and also from the other panelists about the role of rotation crops in creating financial stability in particular during the conversion period. So maybe let's start with you, Davo, and go to any others who'd like to answer too.
Thank you very much. I talked about the rotation crop. Rotation crop is one, but there are also associated crop, such as some trees, shea nut butter, and cashew nut in our case, and soya as a rotation crop. And these are crops which bring additional revenue to farmers. They do not rely only on the revenue from cotton, and this is very important. And also it plays a role in a period where the rainfall is not adequately distributed over the year. So when one crop fails, the other crop can be a solution. And when we are referring to rotation crop, we are also referring to the problem of fertility. If you choose properly, some legume will help to bring some increases in fertility before you crop your cotton. That are the role rotation crop are playing. That's what I would like to say.
Thank you very much for that. I could see Rhett, you were nodding at the beginning. So would you like to add something here as well?
Yeah, sure. And I think this is another point that comes back to what Jessica was talking about as well, is that this is why a community approach is particularly important. A organic cotton farmer is actually, there's no such thing as an organic cotton farmer. That's the point. There are organic farmers who happen to grow cotton for one season. So they have to maintain an organic farming system. So they have to maintain the soil, and they have to, of course, grow crops that aren't cotton, both on the season where cotton doesn't grow, and to diversify their own portfolio. So the responsibility of an organic farmer goes well beyond just cotton. So they cannot survive on cotton alone. So when we think of organic cotton farmers, we're actually doing ourselves a disservice. They are organic farming systems that are maintained by farmers, and they happen to be growing cotton. So from a farmer producing organization perspective, they have to do multi-crop marketing, not just cotton, but of course any other crop that supports those farmers' livelihoods.
Great, thank you very much for that point, Rhett. Excellent. Anything else from the other panelists on that point? A slightly on a linked topic about securing the supply chain, securing prices, slightly tenuous segue. I'd like to go to Amish for a couple of questions. One about the difference in the premium percentage during the conversion period. And then also another question about securing prices in the supply chain before the harvest when we don't know what the raw cotton price will be? Are you able to answer both of those? I'm sorry, I'm just aware that we're running out of time and I want to try and put as many in as we can.
Yeah, so yeah, I will answer both. It's very easy answer, even if we see what is going on till, in the last season and this season, everything runs on demand and supply. More demand, prices will go up. Less demand, prices will go down. It is not a rocket science. What we have seen is just high price, let's say high demand is driving up prices right now. And same goes for the in conversion, year 1, year 2, year 3, right? So people started buying year 2 and year 3 cotton after our first regional roundtable meeting jointly with OCA. That was in December 2020, and then one more session that we have conducted in February on in conversion that has increased the price of in conversion for at least for year 2 and year 3. And now we have seen people are started buying also year 1. So at the moment the prices are driven by the demand and supply, but still it is increasing day by day. Now going for securing a prices, even though cotton is not available yet, that's right question. If we talk about, let's say scenario, cotton will be available in the month of October, November of this year, sowing will start in the month of June in India. So if how someone can fix the prices, that's where I will also emphasize one more time, read the carrying report. It has the answer for that. We have the pricing mechanism. There are 4 mechanisms that is available, but I will always say go for the 2 which is highlighted in the presentation, the split premium model, and also go with the flexible premium model. Here what you can at least fix is your raw material prices for a premium differential, let's say the price differential. So at least how much you need to pay for organic. And going forward, if you see the current cotton prices, that will also drive the regular cotton prices for next year, which looks like it will be remain exactly the same as it is. So if I'm a good trader, I'm going to assume that next year cotton price will remain at least same as what is available today, which is 95 cents, and just fix the price for a premium starting with, let's say 5%. You can go up to 45% based on your availability. So based on these 2 calculation, you can decide what would be projected prices. So simple answer is fix your sourcing model, fix your pricing model, you choose flexible model or split premium model. That would be the right answer, and securing the quantity also.
Great, thank you, Amish. And I'm afraid we have only got time for one more question, and so I'm going to switch gears a little bit and let's answer the questions about sourcing for small brands. So there's a couple of questions here, and actually I'm going to invite Rui if you'd like to speak to those. So I'll just read out the second one. What to do as a small brand to get organic in conversion cotton directly from farmers, especially relevant for any brand or company that typically gets their cotton from further up in the supply chain.
I think you need to connect with your supplier, whether it's raw materials or yarn. It depends on the product that you do, and sort of try to understand a bit of their supply chain. I think when it comes to sustainability or sustainable products, there needs to be transparency and traceability of what we do. And if there is an understanding and a collaborative way of working, they will be able to provide information where they're currently sourcing their cotton from, and where there are other options on the table. I had an example in the past myself where we wanted to source a certain type of yarn, and we had to go through a new region, and Textile Exchange was able to support that. So we're here to support those sort of initiatives. Now that's also related, I think, Sarah, I'm taking over a bit here, but there was related as well from a very similar question from a small brand as well. How do they get started? And yet again, it's connecting with your suppliers and trying to understand whether they are whether they'll be able to help you, to be collaborative and transparent about with you. If they are, then this is a good point of start. And I think with that, be able to overcome, your question as well about small volumes or minimum quantities. So I think collaboration and transparency is key for those conversations. And if that exists, it is possible.
Great, thank you, Rui. And I'm very sorry to say that we don't have time to answer any more questions now, but we will, as with previous webinars, we will put all of the questions and some answers onto the OCRT hub. getting my letters in the right order. And also, anytime, feel free to pose questions onto that hub, and you can get answers from the entire cotton community. And I'm very grateful to you all in the audience for your excellent questions. We're always so lucky to have such rich and diverse questions coming in. And of course, thank you so much to our wonderful panelists who have done such a brilliant job sharing their expertise and telling us about their experience and sharing their knowledge. So we have got a couple more Mentimeters just to finish up today. So Matilda, can I just ask you to put the next Mentimeter up? Oh, great, some people have already answered. So the question is, after joining this webinar, how likely are you to consider new models for sourcing organic cotton? And it's great to see that most people strongly agree that they're more likely to consider different models. And I hope we've given you a good introduction to what some of those could be and inspired you to look at things possibly in a different way.
It's getting even better.
Oh, yeah. 4.3. I understand what this graph means this time, so it's not too confusing.
Yeah,
Okay.
I also think that the ones that feel less comfortable about it, please do get in touch with any of us here at Textile Exchange. That's why we're here to support you and help you through that journey. It's not always easy to change, but if you are willing to embrace change, we are here to help you.
Yep, great. That's a very good closing point, actually. And yeah, we don't really have time to do a big reflection on what's everything that's been said today, but the thing that really stuck out for me was about how the principles of kind of diversity and taking a systemic approach, which is so fundamental to organic practice, is also so true in success and being able to really scale organic and in conversion cotton for the future. So, you know, that's quite a nice synergy right there. Okay, so the next Mentimeter, this is about what you as the organic cotton community want to hear about next. So as you will hopefully be aware, we put on these webinars to try and answer the burning questions that the organic cotton community would like to have answered. So we'd really like to hear from you, either through putting your answer into this Mentimeter, or you can contact us directly at ocrt@textileexchange.org. Or you can post your ideas on the hub, and we'll be delighted to put on further events about topics that are of most interest to you. So we got one there, how to source and conversion cotton. Yeah, and so at the moment, our series of webinars are all trying to answer this question of how to scale it, how to source it, how to ensure that we are securing a long-term viable supply of organic. So yeah, more specific regional options that are closest to manufacturing, great. And please know that we have different regional OCRTs that can address regional specific issues as well. So yeah, we've got a good number of points coming in now. So even if we can't keep them all up on screen because we need to move on, we will be harvesting those and reviewing them as a team and making sure that we're tailoring what we do next to the things that you would like to hear more about. Okay, so with that, on to our final question of the day, which is just one word to sum up how you're feeling at the end of today's session. It's always a dangerous question, this one. Hopefully you're feeling good about it. So please add your words into this final word cloud of the day. And Rui, any final words from you before we wrap up?
No, I just think we would just say thank you to everyone that attended. It's great to see so many of you participating and showing interest on the subject. And I think, you know, some of the topics that you raised on the previous Mentimeter about other topics that you want to discuss, I think they're all very, very valid. And I think we can see the interest and the urgency of connecting the whole supply chain from not just talking about the farmer level, but it comes into the raw material suppliers. So there's a very interesting topic, and for sure we will be addressing down the next sessions. And I hope you stay connected. There will be a lot of other information coming on our website and updates. So, but feel free to ask as well.
Great.
Oh, people are motivated, Sarah.
Yes, that's always a good sign, isn't it?
It's a very good sign indeed. A very
Excellent.
good sign.
Yeah, and you know, just to reiterate something you said a few moments ago, Rui, you know, we really are here as Textile Exchange and as the Organic Cotton Roundtable to try and facilitate this journey. So anything that we can do to assist you in that, then please don't hesitate to get in touch. It's what we're here for, and it's what we love. So yes, looking forward to hearing from you and also seeing you on our next e-learning series. Topic to be announced depending on your feedback, and that will be in the next few months. But please do look out for other things from us. We've got more on in-conversion cotton that will be coming in the coming months, including the results of the demand survey. And as Alice has just put in the chat here, if you're not registered yet, please join the OCRT. It's free and it's open to all. You don't have to be a Textile Exchange member to be a part of the community. So please use that form there. And you'll also see in the chat that various great reports and other links have been included. So please check those out. And finally, this picture has all of our regional ambassadors and all of the OCRT team there. So please, if any questions, contact us at that email address. And with that, I think we are about to come to an end. So I'm just going to hand back to Rose to wrap us up. But thank you to everyone that's joined us today. It's been great to have you here, and looking forward to seeing you next time. Over to you, Rose.
Thank you. Thank you to our speakers, and thank you for participating in today's webinar. As a friendly reminder, an email will be sent to all registered participants with a link to today's presentation. That concludes our webinar. Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye, everyone.